Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm going to respond to one of the first videos made by a YouTuber named Hakim. The video is called "Will Life Be Better Under Socialism?" In the video itself, he often points to the other videos he previously made. Unfortunately, I cannot find them. So for now, I will take the video as it is and respond to its content only. If the other videos are still available, let me know and I will respond to them too. Let's begin.
One of the most common things that we hear is that supposedly there is no capacity for innovation under socialism.
This slogan is, as all propagandistic slogans, imprecise. What economists means when they say stuff like that is that the profit motive is one of the biggest contributors of innovation. Of course, it's not the only one. Good-hearted scientists have always existed and will always exist, no matter what the economic system is. One can deny that, on the other side, many brilliant minds will just want to enrich themselves. The free market creates the incentive to innovate. As Hakim himself says in the video,
Let me explain. A capitalist will automate a factory, and through doing this he will see productivity rise and his long-term costs go down, as he will fire the workers now made redundant due to the introduction of these new machines.
As the costs go down, the capitalist will be able to lower the price of his product. With a lower price, he will sell more products, increasing his profit. This great incentive works throughout the whole process. Not only the scientists who discovered the fundamental physical phenomenon, but the engineers who produce the machines that make the products will feel this pressure from the market. The managers who bought the land and built the factory will feel it. Everyone will be put under pressure to innovate. This is the incentive that is lost in a classical communist system. As a centralized plant manager, your job will be to just fulfill the quota. You will have no interest in keeping the costs down or trying new methods.
Under capitalism, the driving force for investment in the development of technology is profit. If it's profitable, capitalists will fund it. If it's not profitable, even if it were to save millions of lives or the climate, an ever-pressing issue, it wouldn't get funded. If it won't make some shareholders somewhere richer, forget about it.
That is all true. He perfectly identifies what is the point of the market. The market finds efficient products and methods of production and disregards the rest. If it increases the wealth, the market keeps it. If it decreases the wealth, the market loses it. In other words, if it costs more than it produces, the market will just stop it. Let's study another example. Mark lives near the Smith family and he needs a car to get to his new job. The Smith family decides to help him. Mama Smith proposes to find a good priced car, find a good way to finance it, and gift it to Mark. Papa Smith proposes to take the money from wherever fund they happen to have and buy wherever car they happen to find. The first proposition is clearly the better one. By spending money carelessly, the Smith family will not be able to help Mark and will probably put themselves in trouble. Good intentions will not give a good car to Mark. That is what the market is for. It tells you the cost of a policy and the probable outcome.
Let me ask you this. How many Newtons, Ghazalis, and Einsteins has humanity lost in sweatshops, on cotton fields, or in cobalt mines? How many due to systemic imperialism draining the third world of resources and keeping them poor? How much human potential was locked behind United Fruit Company plantations and Sri Lankan tea farms?
We didn't see great scientists coming from the Soviet Union or Maoist China obliterating scientists in capitalist countries, so I think this is more of a fantasy than a scientific proposition. There is no way to disprove this claim, so I'll move on.
Under capitalism, higher education, a necessary prerequisite to innovation and development, is locked behind very, very expensive tuition fees and other expenses of universities. That is, if people are even literate in the first place and have completed lower forms of education.
I don't know where he got this notion from, but in most countries in Europe, you can easily study for free if you can pay. And if you can pay, you probably will have to pay way less than your education will cost. In Italy, we have the so-called borse di studio. You can look them up.
Under socialism, all stages of education, from pre-K to postgraduate education, are absolutely free.
This is one of my favorite propagandistic tricks. He doesn't have to explain how he will make everything free. His followers just take his word as truth. He just basically told us, if you give me all the power, I will make you rich. I can do it as well. If you became a last atheist, I will give you a Ferrari. My statement and his have the same validity. It's just wishful thinking.
That's why even some of the poorest countries on Earth reach literacy and university completion levels similar to those of far wealthier capitalist countries.
As he said himself in the video, you don't need socialism to do this. What we do see, though, is that the best universities in the world are all in the capitalistic West. This supposed system, by the way, capitalism is an ill-defined term, that doesn't value education as the best schools in the world. It did not explain how a Western company could employ an illiterate work. Literacy is fundamental to any job nowadays.
Capitalism, in reality, actually stifles useful innovation. US pharmaceutical companies do virtually no research aimed at developing new drugs to cure diseases such as tuberculosis and malaria, for the most part, which kill tens of millions of low-income people every single year in the Third World.
Again, he offered no proof of his statement. But let's take his word for real. Let's say that funding malaria research is not profitable. That would be because the people sick of malaria don't make enough money to pay for the cure. So the companies will register a big loss if they fund it. They will have to fire people, decrease production, and so on. This means it will be charitable work, and it's not the job of companies to do charitable work. The market tells us that funding will have an exact cost, and we will have to pool our resources to cover it. That's one of the duties of the government.
That's not even commenting on parallel development by two firms of the same or similar technology, wasting twice as many resources so that one reaches the market as quickly as possible, even through dubious means if necessary.
It's obvious that advertising is necessary to let the people know about a new product. Advertising existed even in Soviet Russia, but that is not the point. The asymmetric nature of the information market will be present in any economic system. It wouldn't exist in Hakim's communist world because it is a made-up world. I would find it quite weird that two competing companies could be working on the same medicine with the same method of production, but that's what he said.
Whatever innovation is done, it's used for profit rather than for human need.
Maybe Hakim doesn't know that what constitutes profit is human need. Demand is human need. Supply is just the other half.
As an example, Pfizer's patented drug fluconazole, which cures cryptococcal meningitis, a deadly side effect of AIDS, sells for $18 a pill, placing it beyond the reach of AIDS sufferers in southern Africa, for example. A generic version, produced in Thailand, however, outside the reach of Pfizer's patent, costs 60 cents a pill. The patent has expired since, and generics have become more frequent as a result, but I already hear someone saying, if they didn't patent it and charge a premium, regardless of the ethics, it would deter research in the future as they wouldn't be able to secure a return on investment. That would be a sound argument if these major pharmaceutical companies didn't receive massive tax breaks and government funding for much of what they develop. That's not even mentioning how many taxes they dodge. COVID vaccines were a perfect, but far from the only, example. For a further dive into how you basically have already paid twice for everything through state funding, take a look at this video here.
Patent law is a government interference in the market, and as he said, it doesn't really help innovation. Professor Michele Boldrin and David K. Levine published a very good book called Abolishing Intellectual Property about this topic. Patent law needs to go. Maybe I will make another video about this since it's a bigger topic.
Imagine a world where education is treated like the human right it intrinsically is, and where everyone has access to free, high-quality education at all levels. Imagine a world where your community's needs and your personal creativity are what drive innovations and not the need to turn a profit for some middle management asshat named Kyle. Imagine a world where we have true democracy, economic democracy. Imagine socialism. That conveniently for us has already been tried and tested. If you're of the thinking that socialism failed as a response to my little comment, we'll take a look at this video here.
This is a beautiful piece of propaganda. It's just a string of sentences put together only to incite an emotional response. It's a pure appeal to emotion. I will address the failed socialism video another time.
First of all, what is automation? In the most basic definition, it's the introduction of a machine that will do labor that previously required a human being. All the complex drilling, lifting, cutting, manipulating, putting together, and much more that used to take anywhere from 1 worker to 100 workers now requires just a set of machines finely tuned doing what needs to be done perfectly. The hurdle, though, as is commonplace nowadays, is capitalism. Let me explain. A capitalist will automate a factory, and through doing this he will see productivity rise and his long-term costs go down, as he will fire the workers now made redundant due to the introduction of these new machines. These workers that have now become a liability for the capitalist are let go, as the capitalist has no need to pay wages, provide paid maternity leave, vacation time, sick days, etc., since robots don't get pregnant or need vacations. The sheer amount of jobs that will be lost due to automation is staggering. Truck drivers, who occupy millions of jobs in the United States alone, will all lose their employment due to the advent of self-driving cars. Cashiers, clerks, receptionists, and anyone working behind a stand or counter of any sort will lose their jobs to computers. Even more highly intricate or technically involved jobs can face certain threats from this development. This eventually spells a problem for capitalism, that the capitalists don't foresee. They're known for their lack of foresight, after all. That's actually incorrect. They do foresee it, they just don't care. These capitalists that now produce much more for much less because of automation won't actually be able to sell their products. All these out-of-job workers won't have the money to buy any of these products that capitalists are churning out, and voila, one of the many contradictions of capitalism unfolds.
This is not one of the many capitalistic contradictions, but the main one, at least in Marxist theory. This is the fundamental flaw that, according to Marx, will cause the collapse of capitalism worldwide. It's called tendency of the rate of profit to fall, and it's fundamentally wrong. Other than the fact that we have seen more automation correlating to high wages and occupational levels, the problem lies in the fact that the value of a product is not given by the labor encapsulated in it, but by the matching of supply and demand for it. This theory deserves its own video, so we will skip the theoretical arguments for now. The rest of the video is just useless propaganda, and it doesn't deserve attention. Thank you for watching my first video. This first video is quite rushed, so I'm not really satisfied with it. But I promise I will improve in the next ones. I suggest also to subscribe to Hakim. He's not the best communist YouTuber out there, but it's one of the most fun. Leave a like and comments if you have some questions. See you next video.